Tell my name. We'll be sharing once you're ready.
I have no idea.
Screen share. Which one come kind of way? Uncle John, I'm ready. Miss Atio didn't have a screen share. Okay. Doctor, which one is screen share?
Live stream on YouTube lang.
Okay.
Kailan?
Oh.
How do you this thing? How do you put up that whatever material you got already?
We got
or how do I? Yeah, I have. Otherwise, also I have a simple PPT. I just need to scroll. But what do I do?
Uncle, once you are ready, once you need that one, give me an order. Give me a command. I'll share on the screen. Or you can share yourself. Okay.
Uncle, untuk co-host kami now screen share ke button
share content. You can just click share content and then it will be there. Can you
share
see
screen
toolbar ngoba? Now co-host speak kami into the toolbar type rawo. Before you were not co-host, so time there might not be that share content option.
Where is something called share content?
Share screen.
Share screen.
Share screen. Okay, I have it here.
Yeah. Nang perlu nunggu PPT saya lepas keraiban nabo.
We are ready with your PPT. So we'll share.
okay.
Okay, okay, so that's how rakam take.
I have no idea. Anyway, somebody take care of that one.
Okay. Wang san mu de khun jerap niu chu gusan bam ran. Runa niu how to rakam take. And then wang ba mai kam tu te welcome to kai khadi YouTube lamjai ma ja Facebook lamjai wang fui ka bam dong kam tu welcome to kai liu Liangmai Foundation go organization go lamjai ka niu asron ma jam Fine, go talk. I say talk number 15 series. Talk number 15. Aliu, can you discuss you hang home? The talk series. It's just quite na. Build up to counting a time. Go say talk number 15. Ne. Liangmai Foundation go. Lam go point the inkai right ne. Liangmai Foundation has mostly of the academic and research lamjai oriented to foundation khale khadi academic in the sense that Liangma dung neng. Go intensive to the academic masa research any research develop to kai ni ba mai ham thiu to have a foundation welcome to the zau sui mai zau ni mai bam sai che zau kai sui ba mai khadia sro na ma da li go annual magazine the ba mai annual magazine se annual night one je go magazine kha ba mai si te articles contribute to khai mai dung khadi contribute to kharante akun ba me khadi supportive to the liu khai khadi supportive ron ma za pa ta pa khai la za aliu go society neng thinra bu wi raw pa game ba hi ga thin piu ra ne ideas from the sense and khat neng khadi reading khadi studying go culture has developed to ran is main to liu kam go magazine ba me khadi aliu go thain go talk series go speakers new CR John Zeliang jo pa haise 1989 kum Bachelor of Engineering civil engineering kamel boy to hoy haise pa Chief General Manager Northeastern Electric Power Corporation Government of India sika ko Chief General Manager tu me pa posting haise Guwahati ka taba me pa hai se Liangmarong one of the most dynamic and person khale hasur na maza thinking has te diuza khadi deep thuza think chu ngam bo khadi articulate thuza chila pau suibo mai khale khadi Liangmarong hakum mai dung na liu talk series ko wang zau hai ba jang nasne appreciate the theory khadi aliu Liang dung this mai kenka wasi sanler sunezim lamme pana LCF digite bamnak khay Liangmai Christian Fellowship Delhi almost 15 years, quarter of his life I should say to khay puiwam almost a quarter, 1/4 of his life LCF dige bam pha LCF digite mol ti khay bo mai khalle je lu khay khadi leader ka di mai khalle te sikum je to khay ali hu ga panwa idea share tu khay pliga lu idea hai se lu sui lu khadi to discussion gate discuss tu sui bu ideas from me khadi pugu idea lu pal discuss su hi se discuss khai kheran di request khai pugu talk go topic jans new side Liangmai vision 2040 ju loud thought by CR John Zeliang ju to khai aliu speaker pin e pon di khai
Pau nugu screen se share tu suma nugu material se share tu kami ma.
share tu khai sui de
Wait. Okay.
yes.
Wait. Hello.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. We'll come back to the screen a few minutes for now.
All right.
So, yeah, every time there is a important event, I seems to be going through a little bit of a arrangement problem. So I thought I will go to my office. My office is just on the other side of my quarter building. So I went there. Then to print out also, and also to maybe I will have it there. But then I realized that today being Saturday on holiday, they have shut down the light and the AC, although the networks are working on UPS. And then this is not the first time. This is a very important event. As I was sharing with Kat, like the Kalabo, excuse me, that when I had an online interview for my chief general manager promotion, suddenly at that day, the network went off. I was in Arunachal. So in my office, there was no network. So I call up the driver, please come. Then the driver said, no. There's a Bolero spring drop. Then I said, is it go over? Thoda kuch good in Hindi, Arunachali. Then I said, then come. We will just roam in highway only. So we were in Arunachal Trans Highway searching for signal. It was raining. And then finally at one spot we got the internet, and then we parked it there, raining, and inside with a laptop like this and then mobile connection. I thought I will use the office cable internet connection, but it didn't work. So we're back to mobile networking. So that's the interest. So I came back running just now from the office back to my room. That is how I live. You caught me like this. And yeah, to start with, good evening to all the participants. I see that we are 37 of us. And welcome to my talk on the subject of Liangmai Vision 2040 for convenience length. Actually, rather for my convenience, I'll speak in bilingual or even multilingual, if we quote and unquote some Hindi or some Nagamese, in English and Lianglat. So this is a very important platform and important means of assimilating the knowledge, the Liangmai Foundation taught, and the knowledge and the ideas, and then dispersing and dispensing to others so that we can share, we can reserve, we can compile. I thank the convener and other member who reached out to me for this talk. I'm neither a scholar nor a researcher on any fields of studies by any standard, but I gather you are reaching out to whomever you thought can share ideas. So you will forgive me for the randomness of my thoughts and my talks. I will request the organizers to take correct approach while compiling, which I'm told that they will do, so that it is in proper documentation format. When I was invited, I was not given any specific topic for sharing, but while discussing with Kailat, we did breach on the subject of Liangmai Vision 2020-2040. And I said, okay, that's good. But I was of the opinion that it will be a series even for this Liangmai Vision 2040 in the days, in the months to come, whenever you find time. So I took upon myself just an ice breaking or putting up an overview or a chapter layout. I took it that way. So you will excuse me if I miss out on many topics. A multidisciplinary expert would have been the right person. So that will be the situation right now. So yeah, I have just made a layout on the PPT. I think Vichamdin will put up that. And I have structured it in this in a simple way. As you can see there, where it will be, I have structured it in the form of introducing to the subject, then try to go to our history and our legacy that we inherited, then our present status, which you will know better than me, then our future, then the Vision 2040, whatever I collected or whatever I think will be good, and how to achieve about it. And then a concluding chartered points, which could be a part of the take home. That is how I have structured it. So the subject, as an introduction, the subject matter of Liangmai Vision 2040 is a vast dimension covering all aspects of our living, starting from our physical environment to our psychological aspect. No one department or individual can lay out our books or the note for Vision 2040 without cross-consulting different and the best in different fields. Hence, it would be just a compilation of acceptable best thoughts of all the schools. So now, and to achieve our physical goals, we require our individual and group inner well-being. There, we may lay out so many targets. We may lay out so many targets, but the point is, unless individual and group are prepared, trained, accept, because the targeted vision will require physical goals, such as the physical development of land and enhancing the capability of our tribesmen. And so we have so many things that we want on our land, but in the process, if we don't prepare our people, laying out the target is going to be a huge, huge misconception. At the same time, even if we develop the land without our indigenous participation, the local participation, the people will not be happy. And it may not be even sustained long, because the local people will not have that belongingness to the development that we want. As much as we want the physical development, we have to remember the individual people's development is a must. Required to know our history, will be required to know our present status. Without that, we will have problem in going ahead. We will not know our key strength. We will not know our weaknesses, and also where we stand. Now, I'm not a historian, but the little that we learn, I learned from different sources. On record, I just would like to mention a little bit. Our elder Apo Agabo's father is here, and others are there. They will know better about all those things. The point why we need to bring up the history and the legacy we accept is also to see how are we a good steward? Are we a good custodian? If we know what's ours, it is easier to develop what is ours than try to achieve what is not yet ours, but it's available. So I'm made to understand, or I learned that as a race, we are Tibeto-Mongolian race of human being. that settled in Makhel of Senapati district in Manipur, along with all other Nagas. That is what you and I, young people, new generation people learn. Then we are told that our ancestor from there moved out from Makhel and went to Ramtingkabing, a cave or a ravine. Technically, they say that they can see a star from there in the daytime. So if you see as per scientific knowledge, probably scientifically explaining, if it is a ravine, a narrow ravine, probably it's all inhabited with trees all around it. And then the external light do not interfere with the far distant light coming. So it's basically a natural telescope. A telescope, what it does is it screens out near light and take in far light. So that's why nighttime is good. And we're told from there they move out. They move out from Ramtingkabing. Now the question comes, where did they move out? One school of thought said they went to present Oklong, or Chuangpuning, or Guangpuning, or Apo Hulong. And then from there, they went to Mukwilungdi, and then they dispersed. Another school of thought says they went to, from Ramtingkabing, they went straight to Mukwilongding. Then they dispersed, and the present Oklong is just a leftover of the dispersed. Anyway, those are the two thoughts where two things I am made to understand. Now we all know that our kinsmen, Raomai, Zemai, Liangmai, and Huis are from the same parental ancestor. And we also learned that we are the elder of the lots. And we also learned that our Lianglat is a sacred dialect, as they call it, Ralat. Our traditional boundary borders with the Métis, the Paumais, the Marams, the Angamis, the Raomai, the Zemais. That is how we are boundary. Now, having learned that short term, and when we look for the vision, one thing that we need to ask is, were we a good custodian of our culture, our tradition, our land? Because our vision for future, all these three, our culture, our tradition, and our land, is what we are going to develop. The culture and tradition will also affect our mindset. So if we know where we hail from, if we know what we practice, if we know what our land is or was, then it becomes easier for us to face reality and prepare ourselves. Are we able to maintain the ownership of the inherited legacy? And are we able to develop it? Or is it going from bad to worse? Now, the targeted vision should be to enhance what is our legacy, acceptable legacy, our rights, and recover full ownership of what is lost. Now, when I say rightful ownership, there are two types. One is a physical ownership, or the other is an acceptable ownership, even if we do not physically possess it. So our culture, our tradition, our land, where do we stand? So targeted vision has to encompass this. It's easy to say that targeted vision would be just put up a physical structure of house, road, projects. But the moment we lose this actual ownership or command ownership, then those physical development will not sustain for long. So we will have to be able to work around that. That's very important. Which call in for a lot of intellectual capability, diplomatic way of handling situations, and try to lead the conversation. In the society, in dealing with people. If we don't try to lead the conversation, we will follow the conversation that other people are structuring. And naturally, when they structure, they will structure it for their goods. No? But when you structure it, you are structuring because will be good, because you have ownership, rightful ownership on it. But people who has no rightful ownership is rarely structuring the conversation, the vision for others, but for their survival. Excuse me. Now that's leaves us. If that is our legacy, like I narrated the boundary line of the land, the history of migration, the status of our kinsmanship relationship, we know that now, our language, our clothes, our identity. Where do we stand now and then? That brings us to the next point, our present status, our capability, our status. So one of few ratings Presently, we were told we are about 60,000 in population. Learned people can later on advise me or even correct the record. We inhabit primarily in the state of Manipur and Nagaland. Hence, we are administratively divided, and which is affecting our unity in thinking and in functioning. And hence you have LNC Nagaland, LNC Manipur, LNBA Nagaland, Manipur, LBA Nagaland. So functionally, we are made to do that. So that's our present. Presently, our boundaries are encroached. Our lands are usurped by others. That is our land status. Some of our peripheral lands are settled by others without our consent. We hugely lack in education, development of land, and the economy in comparison with our fellow Nagas or with our neighboring people. So that works against us, especially in a time like this, when we live in the era of capitalism, marketing, less so depending on ideology. That's how the modern world is. Our cultures are under threat from modernity. Our young people lack knowledge on our culture. I don't blame them. The world is very fast. We're left behind. But still, we can find a way to sustain. So modernity is both good and it's become bad. Produces identities is not able to be integrated in that modernity. So that's the threat. We can see few nations in the world, despite wearing the best watch, the best spec, the best mobile, they could integrate it with their system, their clothing. So that's one area we have to look in. Otherwise, we may be left behind, like the Nokia, which was once upon a time a highly reputed and of high demand mobile handset, but now it's been outstaged by other producers, other brands. We are also our minorities in the representation of governances. That's whether it's in Nagaland or in Manipur, that's our situation. our God-given natural resources are exploited, some of it without our consent, and definitely without proportionate benefits to the owners of the natural resources. We have we have the least road length in our land. We have a vast land bordering all the way to Imphal Valley. We are also one of the least consumer of power or electricity. Today, in the world, many measured the progress of the people, development of the people rather, into modernity, according to the indexes of the electric consumed by the people in the area. We often see a dark spot in the planet, in the internet. We can see at night especially, where North Korea is there. So many writes up on this. How much of electricity is consumed by a certain area or a certain group of people? Are they depending on missionaries, or are they still using traditional and crude tools to survive? So we are one of the few. And our present status is that by faith and practices, we are all followers of our Savior Jesus Christ. That is few short present status covering our people and our land. Now, where do we go from here? If that is our history, that is our present status. What do we look for? What is our vision? What is the future? In a highly competitive world that we are facing now, and that material-wise, we are highly deprived, it's not going to be easy. But sometimes, the best jobs are done by the commandos and not by the battalions. So, we need to formulate what we do in future, how we do. We need to develop more and higher, we need to acquire more and higher knowledge. We need to learn about the threat, how they're doing transactions in the future. We need to enhance the skill of the people. We need to agree that we have to do by ourselves. Unless we are already capable in all sense, we should avoid using outside people, but rather do by ourselves. This is one very important thing. Psychologically, we think that we should not be we are not capable in making motorcycle, repairing mechanic job, in doing electrical repairs, in doing the concrete and masonry work. But that is not acceptable. That is not negotiable. Because we are going to use the motor vehicle. We are going to build our house of concrete, at least as of now. That is the most stable, safe living structures for our living. So we have to agree that this is an unnegotiable situation, we have to learn. Once upon a time, India failed to participate in the research of integrated circuit. By the time we realized that the world is going to run on integrated circuit, it was too late. India tried to learn, tried to participate, do research, but it is of no use. It has become cheaper. You just pick it up. But no, when we were small, we used to have a Walkman, cassette players. Doesn't work, we take it down to the repairman and say, this is not working. And they will say, oh, the IC is bad. A black, small stuff with multi-legs, just like a crab. They just took it out and throw it away and put a new one. It was cheaper to import than to learn and to build. We need to learn the skill. We need to agree that we will be the one who does, at least in our locality, if not in the other, beyond our locality. While doing so, we need to have a healthy competition. We need to have tolerance. So suppose staging, intolerant, this can be very harmful, even if an opportunity is there for us. But we also need to even accept integrating market participation with others. But beyond certain limit, we have to learn how to say no. So that we don't lose. But to say no doesn't mean you fight. You can even say no with a smiling face. So that is how we have to prepare for our market, our survivability. We all know we need road, connecting all villages. This is sure. Nobody is going to walk again for days to get them. Like those days. We need road, we need good road. Every village deserves to be connected with road. Now, everybody cannot participate. That require high investment and top level participation. Our leaders and those capable people, they need to practice more belongingness to the land and the people. In completion and good quality development of infrastructure. Somebody shared with me, it is in the open market also, how much of money has been spent in Tamai area, Taning area. So, but everybody cannot be contractor, everybody cannot be doctor, engineers. But those who are doing it, we need to influence them. But they ought to also rather, they don't require any, if they are especially local people, and do quality job, finish it in time. Now, in our future, we will require administrative upgradation. We cannot live just with the circle officer or the SDO civil alone. They will be required to upgrade maybe to a district or other formats. We need better health facilities. This is the future we're talking about. We need the better facilities of taking care of our health. That's not negotiable. Either we have thing in system in our land, or the authority concerned facilitate going to a better facilities provided hospital. I see so many people from Bihar in Guwahati and Delhi. Some say that the government is meeting their expenses, and so they have that comfort and trust that they can go. We are scared to go because you will be depending on yourself, on your resources. So we need, in general, these are our future requirements. We immediately need academic researches on our culture, tradition, and our resources. Memories of our histories can easily fade away. And when they fade away, we have nothing to hold on to. Then we become diminishing in strengthening our identity. Then we can become a global race. That's okay if we can become a global race. But I would like to become a global community when I'm capable and prepared, not push into it when I'm not ready. So while we are not being done that, we need to prepare ourselves. A very good thing is culture, land are our identity. Tribal people are identified by culture and land. Another thing, as we enter into the future, we need to work harder than how we have worked now. Whether it is in the field, in the garden, in the shop, in the carpentry, in the mechanic shop. We need to study harder and strategically. We need to study harder. I'm a witness to how our 3 children work, study. How they work intelligently, how they study very hard. Exams normally are for 3 hours. They practice 3 hours pre-exams sincerely. My wife, their mother, Lily, before she goes to office, she gives them sample question paper of the past or a sample questions. 9 o'clock, give them. She says start. She goes to office. 12 o'clock, she comes back. Look at whether finished or not. So 9 to 12 is 3 hours. She goes back, leave another sample question paper, starts at 2 o'clock, take rest and start at 2 o'clock. By the time she comes back in evening, that's 3 hours. At 5 o'clock, she checks it again. This was going on. All those helps, question papers, books, guidance books, even textbooks. She was sharing to me that Dr. Hannah was not very good in mathematics, as in other subjects, but it's class 10, so you ought to have it, with the intention of not taking up again mathematics in 12 and thereafter. So she worked on the paper. 1 round, 2 round, 3 round. Every example question, every question. By the time the question comes in the class 10 exam, she knows the question because she has done 3 rounds. She knows the answer also because she has practiced too much. Of course. And so she is through, and then she didn't take up that subject anymore. We have seen other children also working, especially mainland people. They work very hard. So we have to inculcate in our children that it is required to work hard, study hard to survive in the world. It's not easy to remain at the top, to be the best. That also takes a lot of hard work, but we can't help it. No? So we need to do that. We also need to maintain better morale. So all physical things done are morality also. We should continue to maintain the good morality that we are practicing. Now we come back to the next thing. Well, there's a few reasons, a few future that we need to have continuously. Now, having timeline as 2040, that's 20 years from now. What do we need to do within that period? What can we do? So whatever I list here for Vision 2040, this is just an example of few things we immediately need. We'll need to add more. We will need to prioritize. That we have to keep in mind. Even if I mention here 4 or 5 items, this is just one of the many, many things. And those, what we can achieve and what we cannot achieve. Timeline giving 2040. A few things that I have listed here is just something going immediately as I live here, as I work in the project, as I live in the organization, as I see people suffering and struggling. Learn from there, that thinking about it again and again. So today, that when the talks is being hosted by Liangmai Foundation, so I have just subtitled it as a loud thought. Finally, it's coming out, hearable, which I believe can be achieved by 2040. Now, I have not prioritized this first, this second, but that just come to my mind is we will require a full-fledged medical institute. Now the thing is how and why all these questions will come, but it's a 20 years time span. Is it achievable within it? Is it required? The thing is, human being has to be taken care of. We need a full-fledged medical institute. Not because we have so many doctors, so many rich people, so many distance. It's because human support, health support is universal. You will need to have it after every intervals of location. If it's in Delhi with 1 crore population, you'll need to have after every blocks. Like you need to have market after every blocks. Because the only qualification to have a medical full-fledged system is human beings are there. That is the only qualification. Now, with this technology everywhere now, especially medical science and technology that is happening, able to integrate all other knowledges for medical science, it has become easier. So I listed as. Now some people said, why this? Is it possible? But I see in Assam, every district of Assam has a medical college. Every district. You have in Karbi Anglong, you have in Jorhat, you have in Dibrugarh, you have in Sibsagar. Over and above that, even Tata has some super specialties, high capacity bed in the Chai Bagan. Supposed to be a world class. So it's not that it is not possible. It is possible because the people are there and they are to be taken care. It is mandated by that they should be taken care. The government is mandated to do that. I know we have political problems. We are always a minority. And then with telemedicine these days, you have videos, you have internet, and then somebody can even operate if there is one robot there. There is no cost justification to establish, keep a medical instruments or equipment. What happened? Some years back, we thought, oh, this is costly, this is not good, this is not it. But during Corona, we have seen they spent huge, people donated huge. So there's instrument, the PPE, and then oxygens, scanners, and like that. And then there are organizations like NIPCO, ONGC, NTPC, who are donating it out of their profit. Then there are who doesn't require any treatment, but who need to be taken care of so that their life becomes better as they live. You have the cancer people cannot be cured, but then need to be taken care of. Then there are the kidney failure wala who need to be dialysis, to do dialysis. They don't need to go to Imphal or Guwahati or Kohima to do dialysis. They need to provide that facilities in that locality. So all those palliative care facilities, somebody get that cut injuries, you don't have to take it somewhere far. So these are not great things. These are necessities. You just have to stitch it up. In some places, they cut off their hand, their fingers in the factories or in the agricultural environment. They take those cut off pieces and take it to the medical facilities and just join them and stitch it up. Some get connected with nerve and blood and then at least recover some functionality. Some get just attached and remain also. So this is an essentiality. And it's not a big deal to have a huge civil hospital and a huge and a medical, full-fledged medical institute. If we go on thinking only in terms of cost, that's why we cannot have it. Then we have to look at it from another angle. Next, I have listed ITI, Industrial Training Institute. and Diploma Technical Institute. I find this also very essential. We need to, like I said before, all our little savings are drained out because some mystery came and then made for us something from outside the mystery came and takes and go away. We have so many class 9, 10, 11, 12. They are the perfect candidate to be trained in this threat, in this skill. They can be trained. Electrician, fitters, mechanic, carpenter, foundry, bookbinders, plumbing, pattern maker, concrete, welding wala, wiring, and improvise on our existing roller engineering. We have perfect candidates even now also. They can be readily deployed and employed or self-employed. And the result will be economic saving, efficient living. Now some will say, why not graduate engineering college? Yeah, good. But if we have more of those skilled people, then it will have far more reaching to our community, to our land. Mostly the graduate engineering or technical groups are mostly in supervising and policing. So unless there is a mega project to do the supervising or to do the make a frame of policy, they will become underutilized again. But they can be deployed in this institute for teaching and for taking care. We definitely need colleges, general colleges. You can have it in Tamai, you can have it in Barak Valley, you can have it in Tening, just to name few. Why should anybody go all the way to learn Imphal or Koima or Dimapur or Temenglong from Tikyoram, from El Pabram or from Lianglong? Where should they go? There ought to be in this strategic 3 location. We must have colleges on humanities, on commerce, on science, on BBA, on law. We should get the knowledge there, no? Last time we also visited a tribal university in McKen, I think, no?
Yeah.
Yeah, is it McKen? Okay, thank you. And then, so we need to engage them to do more research. So tribal university is it should be well funded. They can do research, they can document on our history, on our culture, the kind of plant that grows, the kind of rural engineering we practice. the kind of survivability we practice, the kind of mineral that exists in our place, the kind of rock, the geology, we must engage them and do those things. And I know some of you also must be knowing there is a Rajiv Gandhi University in Arunachal, I think. They have documentation. They did research. People are getting PhD for every research. What does the Apatani, what does the Nishi, what does the Adi people use for diabetic? What do they use it for blood pressure? True or false, fallacy, it doesn't matter. A research is done on what people are practicing, and it is left to the scientific laboratory to confirm, to nullify that practice. It's huge. I have a collection of huge of them I downloaded. I was sharing with some friends. This is about your area. How people, they fish. That is what kinds of species of fish are here? They do research on that. Publishing like anything. For PhD in this, for PhD in that. Flowers, crickets. I met one student trying to complete the PhD, came to our project. I said, what are you doing? Oh, I'm sampling flowers for my PhDs. I have visitations. Like huge research. I hope that does not become a white elephant tribal university. The fact this is a tribal university does not necessarily write about whether we came from Japan or China. I don't think it should be that alone. And then we need to create an effective marketing system so that our rural people can practice, sell their produces. So this is one marketing system, both online and offline, to sell their produces, food items, vegetables, handicraft. So that is something we need to set up. Now we talk about institute. We also need to find a way to get good teachers for our students. We must have this in place in system immediately. We must put our head together. Parents comes in all shapes and sizes, but we need to have teachers of specific size, specific shape. We need good teachers. Otherwise, our children's go wrong, and then our future go wrong. You have heard of the maxims where it says, if you want to destroy the civilization of a specific of a nation, you only need to spoil the education system. That we all know. Too common. That's a reality. Too common to be read and forgotten. To have a road to every village. That is a reality. I need not go through that in any other way. We should have top class road from Kangpokpi to Senapati to Temanglo. We should have top class road along both sides of Barak. We should have top class road to Barak, then to Tening. They're beautiful, resourceful place, and our maximum of our people are staying there. The roads are to serve the people, no? Not to maximize the market alone. No? We need to practice dispensing water through tap, through pipe. We should stop all this carrying system. One way or another way, we have to find a way that tap waters are delivered to the house and easily available. Water is itself is life. No? We labor for even bad water, forget about good water. Living will be easier, then there will be less in diseases, sickness. We are endowed with a beautiful nature landscape. Every nation, that includes a village nation, long for FDI, foreign direct investment. So tourism is one that provides that. Money comes from outside. It is not only for macro Reserve Bank of India alone. Outside money coming. It generates immediate monetary economy. It generates employment. This requires individual and governmental and even community participation. If community is abusive, people don't come. If the latter area is threatening, people don't come. If the facility is not there, people don't come. Even the rich cannot carry their home and come. The community has to participate. The individual has to participate. The government has to participate. If tourism is one of the chapters, remember, security, friendliness, all these are part of, so we need, before developing the land, we need to develop the people. Now, we also see in the Northeast, there are only two rivers in true sense. One is Brahmaputra and the other one is Barak. And we are so fortunate to be served by Barak, but we all totally fail in cashing it. Rather, we have destroyed it, forests and everything. So it will be easier for us to develop on the both banks of the Barak. Easier for communication, road development, easier for life sustenance, fertile. Those days we migrate along the route of the river. Now there is hardly any chance any one of us will migrate. So those of us who are on the bank of river, they own it, they have to use it, they have to live it. It's an opportunity. We have to market it. You have so many villages left, right, starting from Senapati all the way Oklong, to all the way to Lianglong, to all the way to Namtiram, whatnot. You know better than me. Barak has to be in cash. This is one thing we have to try. Barak will let us not forget. If we were to develop our land and in cash and then talk to the world, talk via Barak. If we don't talk via the great Barak River, the world will not take interest in just learning your village and the people. How do we regulate Barak? How do we encash on God-given this thing? So the left, right, we need the road. When people are living, we have to encash. Now, since we are talking of within 2040, me from technical background, I just have mentioned few like that. Humanities group of people can add many things more. Let's not forget that we are talking now on Zoom, internet. Internet is no longer a novel facilities, a new facilities. Rather, it has become the only means of progressing. It has become happen. It has like that become. Those days, somebody need to travel to Guwahati, Delhi, and bring a piece of paper. Okay, NIPCO, you have been sanctioned 150 crore. No, now they just on real-time basis. So everything is happening. So good internet and mobile network. This is not negotiable. I would rather say, if anyone deliberately reduces the intensity and the coverage of internet and mobile, I would say that he is out against your community. Remember that. As of today, find out if there is a tower and if there is no internet, or if it is weak in signal. It is a non-negotiable situation now. People are going to go ahead with internet, you cannot be left behind. And that's the only means, only thing that second part of it, fake news and real news, that is another story. We can't live with collateral damages also. So don't forget that. Now, we talk about the physical development. What about our, how are we going to implement? How are we going to take care of our communities? What is the situation of our traditional or statutory bodies? Whether you call it the church or the student body or the council, LNC or LNKR. As long as we are tribal and a constitutional provision is there and there is no municipal that rules us, and we are given very capable, sincere leadership, and that too a brave one, that is an intelligent one. The biggest is not the strongest, but the most diplomatic and the most intelligent are the strongest. So once again, we need to strengthen our traditional and statutory tribal body. And then one more thing, an effective enforcement mechanism we need to have. So we talk all this good thing. Tomorrow that village is soul of that land to Mete, that to Angami, that is soul of to Rongmais or to Mias or to Nepalis. How are we going to control it? How are we going to enforce the agenda, good agenda? Because we're now many tree of a forest, and if one of the tree or few tree dies down, the forest is going to collapse. Some village may say, oh, it is my land, what are you set up? No? We have to find out a mechanism. Follow is. Refuse developmental fund to villages that refuses to obey the programs. So what do we as a Liangmai has a mechanism to effectively enforce our agenda? If there is a wrong individual or wrong village. So that is one thing we need to find a solution to it. Now coming to a situation, we having laid down all those what we want and what we require, how to achieve it. Now that is the most difficult part actually, because we know our situation. We have become a minority, not in the democracy. A minority in the democracy is good. They still take our view, but we no longer practice democracy. We rather practice meritocracy. So we become minority. What I have seen from development taking place in other places, that one of the means is of developing a certain area is try to get one mega project. I have seen that. Try to get one mega project. Then there is a compulsive necessity for developing the surrounding. When a mega project comes, it cannot be shifted. It is seated there. So the power that be, the organization that be, they are compelled to develop the road system. They are compelled to develop the transportation system. They're compelled to generate skilled manpower. They're compelled to establish medical facilities. They're compelled to establish education systems. So one effective way is to get a mega project. And the mega project, if you are a minority, you cannot manipulate and bring. Because you are a minority in the policy making. But if you are encashing based on the God-given natural resources, then even those mighty great people cannot do anything. But this is one, we have to have a mega project. We cannot oppose all the mega projects now. How is it that some people have all the mega projects and we are not going to establish, we're not going to sacrifice, we are not going to get bonus benefit, but we are willing to enjoy the fruit of the sacrifice that other people has made. We only need to see the optimum the miners. And if that is a channel for us to pull out from the pit of the suffering, we should have a negotiated approach. One very good way of blanket development is having a mega project within your land, be it factories based on the food plant that grows there, be it hydro project that rivers allowed you, be it horticulture, vegetable, cold storage, because other consumers don't have that privilege because that is not there. I was in Arunachal one fine day and we were talking among officers, and then we were talking, one of the officers was saying, that Arunachal fellow has become a crorepati from this project, that project. So I said, why do we talk like that? The Kameng River is not in Imphal, it is not in Guwahati, it is not in Assam, it is not in Nagaland. And when the project is made on Kameng River, naturally the people around it becomes millionaires and billionaires. No? I don't expect a Zeliang to come here and become a billionaire and millionaire. It's got bestowed, and then we have no other way for Guwahati people to get power except to develop this project. And same way, the hill people do not object to Assam developing oil industry. So these are not an ethical way of talking. So that is one, get a mega project, and all other things follows, because the high and the mighty has to survive there. And then we can get some of that, and in the process that will get augmented and become bigger and bigger. We also need to achieve any one of those items that we made. We also need to create some brand, a Liangmai brand. The people producers. People should say, oh, Liangmai food is good, Liangmai cloth is good. We need to create commercial branding.
Hello, Uncle, to interrupt, 5 to 10 minutes, okay. Finish just so that we can have some time for discussion.
Yes, great.
Okay,
thank you. I'm about to finish also. So we need to have a Liangmai branding.
Yeah, okay.
What is our unique quality as people? What is our behavior? What is our lifestyle? What is our tolerance level? What is our intelligence? What is our hardworking qualities? What is our trustworthiness? Can people trust us? Most industry based in areas where it is conducive for them to work and for the material. So that means environment. While trying to be pleased or conducive for other people, you don't have to surrender your rights. Like I said before, you have to, violence and then aggressiveness comes only when diplomacy fails. No? We have to create a win-win situation. Look for a win-win situation. That's where finally most of the thing works. No? Just because we're with some people, it's not necessarily we fall into the Stockholm syndrome kind of thing. It's not necessary. So that is one. Now, another thing that we have talked so much, and we are going away now, we need to have a micro planning from now till 40 is going to be 20 years. We need to start gathering data of people, capabilities, material resources in a true sense of documentation. We need to concentrate on education from today, from class 1. 2021 class 1 child is going to be class 20 in 2040. So a class 20 in 20, what is the equivalent of that? A class 5 student of today is class 25 in 2040. So in that class 25, what is the equivalent? Is it MD? Is it PhD? Is it a doctor? Is it an engineer? It is MTech? Or are we just leaving it to everything? We said we'll work for the community and we leave it out to God knows who. And only when he comes out as engineer, then we say, okay, developing that also. Now, one of the things that we did last week we did was we had facilitating the students, a class 10 student, top 10 in Samjuram village, top 3 in Zaluki Valley for state board and also for central board, like that. And also competition between 2-3 vehicle schools, high schools, like that. And then awards again to all the 80% and above. Now, what happens is that for this year we facilitated, last year we facilitated, so every year that we facilitate. So in this year, if they're the top among the Zaluki Valley people, that means they're the best class 10 student of 2021 of Zaluki Valley. That's how you start identifying the best of the lots in your group. And then if requests start grooming. No? So we have to devise a mechanism. Then that way we can start projecting, if we have a vision 2020, if we have a project for medical, if we have a project for engineering, if we have a project for certain activities. Okay, after 5 years, I'll open up a mechanic shop. After 6 years, I'll open up a medical shop. After 3 years, I'm going to open up a pharmacy. Then we need to have that planning. We are having, individual families are having, but we need to have a community. If we're very serious, we need to streamline that. I know Liangmai has a history of that. I know we have the Liangmai as a family committed some of our educated elder leaders, officers in the past. And we need to do that still. And then we need to have micro planning on land security and its utilization also. So this is something that I thought about it. And so in the concluding, as a concluding take home or concluding chartered, I just listed one. At general colleges, we need it. Medical hospital, in next 20 years, we need it. ITI and Diploma Technical Institute, we need it urgently. Micro planning team, especially for children and students. And then we need a mega project, just like one kind of a big boom. Then we need to have a marketing system. enforcement mechanism. Otherwise, if we do not mechanism, then we will have problem. It will be a failed project that cannot be implemented. So this is my thoughts, and I have made it loud. I'll end with this. Liangmai Foundation members and official for giving me this opportunity. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul Zone.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And on.
Thank you, Paul. Points can important with you. Can you tell me, especially about the implementation go mara vision ka tam especially effective enforcement go de chepsai kamra sum kunam sarliu discussion the kamlan pinu wi ra me kunam se chepsai kana aligo vision ma sa aligo project kumklu na gram kum the mega project kumkung ra ma sa participation gumram mesum kulam jai na rabam ram de chepsai kana enforce yu ra do sim ram se discussion ma sa forum ra che kamlan sai wi ra me to koi discussion r ma sa question r jai kum ja kam hai ba mesin question thi vai kan ni mai bam sa question khat nia mo pon point bang ka ting question khat nia ni pon ba mesin kam hai sui mai kam hai kan ni mai bam sa question thi vai sui
Boss, chat box ka question khác vào người pa khác lòng.
Okay, chat box ka khat ba me about mega projects like development of hydropower can be set up in Barak River or even in Hanki, or any other river in the Liangmai area. So what about the effect on the environment? Silam Jain go thoughts point about especially I think it is mostly about dams or something like that. Dam gumbo Barak River gumbo masa Hanki gumbo set up to power plant gumbo accepting the environment and you know only area so one and
the only concern is submergence that need to be optimized, what should be submerged and what should not be submerged. Other than that, there are and then land losses, but that is a first thing that will happen. But we need to just optimize the benefit and the loss. Setting up threat facilities, market, business. So the only thing is that certain land will go, low-lying area on the river bank. That's why we keep advocating for a sustainable one, not one big mega one like in Tipaimuk. It was a huge submergence, huge stories. So that is kept in cold stories. So there will be, but the profit and the benefit, we have to balance it out. Now, government wants us to make a 10,000 megawatt project in Arunachal, a single project. Loktak is just 100. Doyang, Nagaland is just 75. So some of them do not have that much submergence, some will have. It also can become occupational changes. Reservoir can be used for fisheries or for tourism or for, sometimes I think of it, my brother asked me, what are you going to do after retirement? So I told him, I'm going to do kheti, cultivation. So he was laughing. Then I said, I'm seriously saying. He said, why you said that? And I said, look at so many people, supposedly it is their land and nobody is cultivating. Why? Because from the minister, from the scheme, from that government, they get it and they can purchase Haryana and Punjab rice. No? They're not cultivating. So he said, how will you cultivate? I said, no, I will not do traditional method. I will lease the land. I'll use tractors and I'll cultivate. I'll employ people. So even people who are having are not cultivating it. That's the interesting part of it. No? Because they feel that investment is too high. And then if they buy rice for 1 lakh rupees and keep it for the whole year, that is sufficient. All sorts of schools are there, no? So, but in some places they endowed with so much of natural setup for huge cultivation, like in Haryana and small. So what happened? That's why they become very rich. So that is one, and this is one.
Okay. Any other questions? Question from Hama. This question, what are mega projects?
Yeah,
that
what
could
is
be set
mega
up?
project that can be set up? All of us. We all need to put up our head together. Sometimes a road itself is a mega project because it connects important destinations. So that itself is also this important project. Some people think it's just like that, but then say if you have in Southeast Asia something and they require a multiple access road, not necessarily just Koima and Imphal, multi way of reaching. How do you go to Silchar? Like that, no? How do you go to this place, that place? So there may be a requirement for multi-route. So that is also one. Another thing is we are against cutting out trees, but at the same time, without clearing natural vegetation, we cannot set up horticulture. We cannot set up grape farm. We cannot set up some fruit farm in a big way if the climate is suitable. Like that. To that extent, people even try to influence the habit of the people so that they drink more fruit juice, so that they drink more coconut, like that, you know. So we can put our head together. We can think.
Yeah.
What
hello?
could be enticing for some people.
Okay. Acha, ito question cut menu kan ni just nang na Chloe statutory body cut liu ra pagai ma major rap kumja. Chip si ta khwai aliu hu organization gu These are apex bodies around Liangmai Council, Nagaland Lamjai, Liang LNC, Manipur Lamjai. Haikomugu body has see Aliu, but Mrs. here, all the villages, if I can, there are many villages who are like nation state come up Nuroniza, Serambara, government Kulam Zainera, they are under some government, administrative government, but they do not give LNC LNC would dictate the separate follow the not just 1-2 villages, it's most of our villages. Sine LNC say LNC mas LC kum je chang gang mam lawo skum de ke me si senior statutory body kha tliu ke che tar si se nago idea road map kum point de che ke lo se ba ma.
No. I think I have been misunderstood. I don't mean to set up another organization. Okay, I mean to say that
Yes.
strengthen.
Yes.
We need to improve the quality. Okay, so if there is some problems in working together like that, we need to once again have I think we need to have once again call in for everybody's participation by virtue of joint meeting, and then improve the process of choosing leaders and improve the process of participating by the villages. I think these two is essential. So I want to make it clear, I don't want any
New organizations,
LNC is a statutory body by virtue
Yes.
of what?
Yes.
I want them strengthened. I want them both in terms of participation, in terms of leadership quality. Because we are living in the world of tribal, at least, nah? So we have to interact. And another thing is, we don't have to take a strong offensive against another tribe or another organization, I feel. Sometimes we get, oh, he did not agree with me, so I hereby, this organization is not agreeing with me, so I hereby, like that, no? So we have to find a way to coexist, find a way to lift them if they are this thing, find a way to, so I think we need to improve our organization. Now, there are times, say, including even the recent incidents, there are times I know I'm weak, I cannot get the result that I want immediately. But there are times we need to diplomatically, professionally put it on record, some of the things, no? The result will not come, but the way the legal system works, the way the human rights system works, the way that it has to be documented, it has to be submitted, it has to be represented. No? Don't pursue if you are not able to pursue. But there are some statutory action that need to be taken, and people also will understand, okay, this is, yeah, naturally they will have to do that. How? Now the only thing is, but some people will say, yes, they are capable, they will make sure that this is taken to logical end. Then it is also possible that, okay, they have done what they're supposed to do, but they are not capable, so they will not take it to a logical conclusion, but it will be an open book for the world to read. So we have to find a way to survive.
Okay. Any question from Hama? Anybody question from Fasa? You guys wait tomorrow. Close your on come 1 minute. Okay. My question harm ma. Conclusion. Dr. Kalat ne pishu ne Dr. Kalat pi makhaga. Just 1 or 2 statement na naklu ra have ga ipoin ne go special documentation go lam jai se siram jai se interesting thi chon thi we documentation kamra pageng ba me jep se se ite meaning pa ting documentation che important thi chon thi we jum ning my ram Peligu professor bam assistant professor dong ma academic research kam bam dong param pugu community dong bam sim dong lead thi do ne research grant the file documentation the kam je mala ba me li hu ra dam no hu ra chmai de akum gu ga chmai keng ma ma sim ma government gu documentation ron na bam ne ali hu ga ma essential the research gu thu je bam te wa ju sim ma charge gu bam ba ne te ka tam gu keng ma thage si kum ram se discussion in depth is a common unit with the organism. My question Bamsun Tamra Zakalanang sorry to the conclusion.
That documentation, no? Even a simple documentation by a village, rightfully if it is done, no? Many a time we think we look for a university or college, but at the same time, they go back to the village chief, they go back to regional chief, they go back to elderly men to document it. No? So let us not belittle the documentation that every village should be writing. Let them write their village history. Let them write their songs and their this thing. Who accepts it, who does not accept it, let us live to the future. But every village, I think we should encourage that one. Now,
okay, yeah.
In developed countries, they even have village newspaper. No? To that extent. So let us not belittle, rather let us encourage every village to do documentation as their belief, as their ancestral tales, whatever. No? Let us encourage that one.
Hey, wait it you Dr. Kalat nang sorry the what I guess lo.
Okay. You we de thank you de tune to oh sorry Ali go thai nai talk number 15 hai city to the win is a loikum khailu de Ali go speaker Uncle John Nadi Paging Bambo Ali dong Liangmai Vision 2040 Ali the two sara in 20 years time they come sa with a lot you must de Paging Bambo se di Paging Bambo king Ali din kum khai mi de tu Ali the two implement chura lo tu must the two achieve chura lo tu wo lam di ka din tau khai mi de Ali hai se Ali Liangmai dong neng Ali future Ali long khang bo ring ting ga the two sai Ali ha kum bo development wang lura lo tu bu lam ka din khai ja di ja thone Uncle John to tu hai sen loi bo marge pa hai thai na din khai bo se pa na clue introduction din khai ni kum ja hai se ice breaker tu ja ali dong hai bu ko Liangmai Vision 2040 ko lam ga se Uncle John nadi dinan sui speaker ki ma di tu future ga di hai go lam se discuss ali Liangmai foundation go platform ga hai go topic ka discussion hai se di bam ne tu se di tu to din taw khala ne tu ja ali go talk host to di je thone tu sai thanai wang ja attend to khai mai participants me dong to di je thone ne li go pogon rai pa khai ja ali go discussion wang ja khai ja ali go hai go program hai se pi thui khai jing so di je thone tu da question menu khai ja ali go hai go discussion hai se paging bambo ti masara pogo meaning hai se si suk diang ja silura leng tu ja question menu khai mai dong to di thone tu si din taw khala ne tu jam thiu to di je thone wang khai ali go to kwang jaw khai leng jing so ali go to khai se second Saturday night fourth Saturday hai se ali pam tan boy fortnight ti tu thai kum 2021 leng ra to hai October loi mi de November December just 2 more months to hunia ro na me hai ga se ali dong talk se takum ne tu lu ja ali future leng tu lang up lo tu se di thiu to tu pc khana ne tum thiu na to di je thone hai ga so tu loi khai bu thiu khoi thai na dang ra tu thiu mang wi lo thank you
hey thiu mang wi khai thank you de apau John te la dim mui ding hai jo na vision gan lam ga dim mui ding hai ja next time to ko online ra boy to tam da hai bu vision nam ga important thi discuss it and ra ga keng bu me
Thank you. And I congratulate Kailat and Wijamdin for successful land tour.
thank you
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, one day we will love to hear.
okay yeah sure
YouTube को link de tha khai ne hai go groups ka to khoi jaw tang mam do ne